I was reading some articles that were contradicting Einstein here just a couple of days ago. And I'll tell you what happened while I was reading those articles that contradict Albert Einstein. I almost put it down. I almost put the articles down and just dismissed it as being crackpottery. But then, you know what I realized? I realized that was denial kicking in. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that the article contradicting Albert Einstein was correct or that it was incorrect. That's irrelevant to what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that the reaction I had inside of me was emotional, and because it was emotional and I didn't want to believe that Albert Einstein could be wrong, emotionally I began to reject the information. That's denial. And I caught myself doing it. So what did I do once I realized that it was because of denial that I was dismissing the information? Well, as soon as I realized that, I said to myself, how I feel about this article or this series of articles should not have any bearing whatsoever on me giving it a fair hearing. So if I'm going to read the article, I need to push my feelings aside and analyze the article on its own merits. Initially, my rejection of the articles was not because intellectually I could find anything wrong with the article, or that the article I felt was not being reasonable or anything like that. It was just the fact that I've been so used to understanding Albert Einstein's explanation of the world and the universe that I have an emotional attachment to that, to the security of that. So when I was reading this article, and the thoughts that I had in my head were, oh, this is stupid, they don't know what they're talking about. I even got a little angry and thought, no, they don't know what they're talking about. But then I caught myself in that moment, and I said to myself, wait a second. Am I rejecting the information based on some fault I can find within the intellectual reasonings of the article, or is it purely an emotional response, which is denial, or this rejection is denial? And that's what happens in all sorts of different scenarios in life. Our emotions kick in, and it happens under our radar, and we think we're intellectually rejecting a thing when we're not. We're emotionally rejecting it. It's so sneaky the way that happens. So I read the article. A lot of it now, you're pushing my feelings aside and just analyzing the article in a non-judgmental, in an attempt to be non-biased about it. And my conclusions about the article are irrelevant for this discussion. For this discussion, I'm simply trying to highlight how sneaky denial can happen. And it can happen in lots of different scenarios and lots of different settings revolving around lots of different topics. You can see how hard it is then when especially a person has been living in denial for their entire lives, what a firm hold that denial can have on us. So it's important to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, why am I rejecting this? Am I rejecting it because I don't like how it makes me feel? Or am I rejecting it for legitimate reasons? Rejecting something because you don't like how it makes you feel is not a legitimate reason. A legitimate reason for rejecting a thing is that it's false, truly inaccurate, and you're able to analyze the thing kind of in a non-biased, in a way that's kind of disconnected from your feelings so that you can analyze the thing intellectually honestly and emotionally honestly without your feelings saying, well, I just don't like it, so therefore it's not any use to you. The reason I bring this up is because, this happens to me all the time. People who read my articles, something about the article, because it contradicts some kind of established thing that they take comfort in, they say that the article's baloney. That my entire body of work is baloney because of how it makes them feel. Now, they don't know that that's what they're doing. They don't know it's because of their feelings that they're rejecting the whole thing. But, it happens all the time. And here I caught myself doing it to somebody else's article over scientific stuff, over Albert Einstein, theory of relativity and stuff like that. Still happens to me, and I've been at this now for a long time. And so, there are certain tendencies that we have as human beings that it's worthwhile resisting those tendencies and trying to be conscious of when those tendencies are kicking in. Because if you think about it, whatever's true is true no matter how you feel about it. And whatever's false, whatever's complete bullshit, is bullshit no matter how you feel about it. No matter how much you want it to be true, is completely irrelevant. It either is true or it's false, and your feelings have no bearing on it one way or the other. So each one of us should really, if we're genuine people, our objective should be able to see the truth, see what's false, no matter how we feel about those things, which is acceptance. I think we're going to be talking about acceptance here a little bit more in just a bit.